Viewers, we are keeping a very close watch of the official visit of our Prime Minister to Malaysia and live visuals coming in from there. This is the second day of that very visit. Now, Malaysian Prime Minister has hosted a lunch for Prime Minister Modi there. Tamil culture, of course, something that we've been looking at since yesterday, being highly showcased at this very grand event. Prime Minister Modi at this very event remembers the great MGR. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, comes out to say Prime Minister Anwar is a big MGR fan. Prime Minister also, during his visit, has met up with the INA veteran in Kuala Lumpur itself at the very luncheon hosted by my friend, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. One of the songs sung was Nallai Namathe from a movie starring the great MGR. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, like several of us in India, is a big fan of MGR. This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has come out to say. Post that, he's also met up with INA veterans in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia itself during this very visit. All of the details which we have been consistently bringing to you right here on India Today. Let me quickly bring in Pranay Upadhyay in the conversation here, who's joining us. Pranay, very good afternoon to you. There's an official visit of the Prime Minister with bilateral talks being held. Key deals discussed, MOUs signed. But if we look at the cultural exchange that's taken place throughout this visit, that also has weighed quite high throughout this trip, from Tamil culture to them sharing their love, both the Prime Ministers sharing their love for MGR.
Absolutely, Shreya. And this is also very heartwarming to see that how Prime Minister Narendra Modi met INA, International Army veteran, who worked with Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Shri Jairaj Raja Rao, and the way Prime Minister greeted him, the way he held his hand and had conversation with him, and Prime Minister appreciated that, how Jairaj Raja Rao told him that how his life was immensely, affected by his time he spent with Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, how he still feels that, he's forever indebted to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and the brave men and women who fought for India in the Indian National Army, and he is in Malaysia. And clearly, as you mentioned, that not only the Tamil diaspora, but in fact the Indian diaspora, it's connect the way Prime Minister spent his evening yesterday in Kuala Lumpur, along with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, and both the leaders cherished the strong bond India and Malaysia share in terms of the cultural ties and the historical civilizational ties between these two countries. And in fact, Malaysia is India's neighbor in Indo-Pacific. Besides, the trade relation, economic partnership, strategic partnership between India and Malaysia, the aspect of cultural, bond between India and Malaysia is also very significant. And in fact, a very important agreement was also, exchanged today, making the audio-visual communication and the film production to strengthen between these two countries, especially in terms of the Tamil films and Tamil songs. And Prime Minister mentioned in his speech today after the delegation level talks during the joint press statement that this is going to build the relationship more stronger in terms of the Tamil diaspora. He mentioned this thing, that how people remain connected through language. In fact, in the Malaya University, a Thiruvalluvar Centre will be established with the help of India in Malaysia.
Very true, Pranay. And throughout this visit, one thing has been very clear. People-to-people ties between the two countries, that is India and Malaysia, is of prime importance. And that's been highlighted. Of course, we've looked at the several sectors that's been covered when signing those MOUs, when the documents have also been submitted and exchanged between both sides. But people-to-people connect seems to be quite at the top when we speak of the ties shared, the bond, the strategic partnership for that matter, shared between the two countries.
Absolutely, Shreya. And if you see, Malaysia is home of the world's second largest home for the Indian diaspora. Around 30 lakh Indian people of Indian origin are there in Malaysia. And in fact, to ensure the social security of Indians, those who are working in Malaysia, an agreement has been signed today and exchanged today. Besides that, India and Malaysia are also deepening their ties in terms of the economical linkages. Rupee ringgit trade will be promoted, and the digital payment linkage between Indian payment system and the Malaysian payment system will be done. Besides that, from semiconductor to the to agriculture, to trade, to even defense and security cooperation, and in fact, during the joint statement, India and Malaysia unequivocally and in a unified voice condemned the terrorism, the menace of terrorism, and said, and Prime Minister also said that there cannot be a double standard or two definitions of terrorism, and the world should stand against the terrorism. So on many aspects, on many things, there is an echoing of mutual sentiment and the echoing of the resolve and belief that India and Malaysia should come forward, and we should work together. In fact, if you see the ASEAN trade, Malaysia is the third largest trading partner for India. So in all terms, be it Indian diaspora is present there, be it the proximity of Malaysia, be it Malaysia being the third largest trading partner for India. With these all aspects, Malaysia comes out as a very important trading and economic partner for India. And at the time when Prime Minister also mentioned the thing that at the time of global turbulence and the geo-economical turbulence, it is important that two important economies, two important countries like India and Malaysia should come forward and should cooperate with each other, and not only in terms of the bilateral trade and bilateral cooperation, but also for the multilateral forums. And that's why India and Malaysia have also signed an agreement for the UN peacekeeping cooperation. In fact, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim also mentioned the fact that the India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commitment for peace, be it the Russia-Ukraine conflict or be it the Gaza conflict, is really appreciable. And he mentioned the fact that Malaysia is also keen to work with India and work with Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the cause of peace.
Right, Pranay. Another thing which is very, very visible in these interactions and cultural exchanges that's taking place, this is something we see everywhere where Prime Minister Modi, in fact, whichever country that he visits, he goes on these official visits too. In this particular visit, we can see how both history and culture, India, when we speak of our country, our history and culture both are so deeply rooted within Malaysia. That also gets reflected, be it the Tamil culture, be it the Prime Minister meeting the INA veteran, which showcases how long back the countries go to when we speak of the relations shared. So we will get back Pranay here on the broadcast, but right now, viewers, that's what we were also trying to focus upon, what this reflects, what this particular meeting, the cultural exchanges that have taken place, the Prime Minister meeting up with the INA veteran who was in fact a part of those regiments, a part of the operations, went right beside Subhash Chandra Bose himself. So all of this really showcases how far India and Malaysia as countries who exchange ties go back to. So now we have some reactions that are in fact coming in. This is of both Prime Minister Modi as well as Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, as they have in fact already addressed after those bilateral talks were held. Let's listen into what's been said.
सबसे पहले मैं अपने करीबी मित्र प्राइम मिनिस्टर अनवर इब्राहिम का गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत के लिए हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। पिछले वर्ष मैं आसियान समिट के लिए मलेशिया की यात्रा नहीं कर पाया, लेकिन मैंने मेरे प्रिय मित्र को वादा किया था कि मैं जल्द से जल्द मलेशिया आऊंगा, और आज वर्ष 2026 की पहली विदेश यात्रा में मैं मलेशिया आया हूं।
We consider this meeting and these exchanges very vital, very strategic and critical to advance and enhance relations between India and Malaysia. Of course, we had long-standing relations since 1957, but we have elevated it to comprehensive strategic partnership in 2024. the deep historical ties, strong people-to-people linkages, and ever-expanding economic cooperation.
So viewers, speaking of the cultural exchange that's taken place, Prime Minister's Tamil Connect in Malaysia went beyond just words which he expressed while addressing the diaspora. In a heartfelt cultural moment, it was students from the Malaysia Hindu Sangam who recited the Thiruvalluvar devotional hymns. The Tamil community in Malaysia has for decades preserved and promoted its rich traditions, which is, remember, a legacy that continues to command admiration and respect.